for mechacha obi biara ebe mu mede ensem enampa ensem de ebi ewo ho sabe yensem no yemonra ensem no emu.
I'm not even sure. Maybe his lawyers will come in, they'll come and tell us. A complaint by whom? Is it a complaint by the Honorable COP, Christian Tata Yohuno, the Inspector General of Police? Is he the complainant in the matter? Is another person the complainant in the matter? What is the foundation of the complaint? That Abronye had said something against him, something he has said, and is criminal? I don't get it. Let's go to the task screen and see what the minority in Parliament wrote on this matter. It's a very difficult and concerning matter, given that most of the youth are, because we don't want, everyone wants their party to win election. Yes, that's correct. If I'm MPP, I want MPP to win election. If somebody's NDC, they want NDC to win election. There's no problem about that. But we don't want a society that is funny. We don't want a society. That's why when you go on social media, whether NDC or MPP, you find everybody says, "What's this Abronye arrest about? What is it? What is it about?" The other day here in Metro TV during the election, during our program Good Morning Ghana, some guy who was an auctioneer came with police. He was mistaken to be a police action on the program. You remember the outrage from both MPP and NDC. We don't want these things in Ghana because we have long gone past it. We have been told by our forebears that they have fought the battle and removed the criminal libel law. Kweku, Baako, and others. They removed the criminal libel law in Parliament in 2001. 24 years later, we have to be having this conversation in Ghana, Africa's finest democracy, Africa's best democracy. For 35 years, we have had uninterrupted changing elections. From in 2000, Ghana was celebrated as the African country since the end of the Second World War that has been able to change government peacefully. Ghana was celebrated 25 years ago that we are the country that has been able to change peacefully. Since then, we have done it in 2008, we have done it in 2016, we have done it in 2024. And in 2025, we have to be thinking about whether there's criminal libel or not. People have to be concerned about what they say. 9 September 2025, for immediate release. Statements by the Minority Caucus on remand of Baako, Abronye DC, and the growing culture of political persecution and abuse of power. The Minority Caucus expresses grave concern over the arrest and remand of Baako Abronye, popularly known as Abronye DC, the Bono regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Mr. Baako was arraigned before the Accra Circuit Court today and remanded into police custody until Friday, 12 September 2025, on 2 charges of alleged offensive conduct conducive to a breach of the peace. The circumstances surrounding Abronye DC's arrest and detention reveal a disturbing pattern. The government is increasingly weaponizing the judicial system against perceived opponents. This vague and overly broad application of the law falls far short of international standards of legal specificity. Even more troubling, his arrest follows attempts to seek political asylum in 8 countries, citing persecution and threats to his life. The denial of bail and his remand clearly suggests punishment, not justice. This case is not isolated. We see a deliberate and systematic campaign to suppress dissent. Journalists, social commentators, and opposition figures harassed through arbitrary arrest and detention. State security deployed to intimidate citizens who expose corruption or question government narratives. A climate of fear where ordinary people hesitate to exercise their constitutional right to free expression. Such orchestrated persecution is a betrayal of the democratic principles upon which Ghana was founded. The Minority Caucus stands in solidarity with all voices of dissent and affirms their right to hold government accountable without fear of persecution. Meanwhile, government's neglect of urgent national crisis is glaring. In the northern region of Ghana, communal violence has claimed at least 31 lives and displaced nearly 50,000 people, with more than 13,000 forced to seek refuge in Côte d'Ivoire. This is not just a local tragedy, it is a regional humanitarian emergency that shames our nation. That citizens must cross international borders to find safety is an indictment of a government that has abandoned its basic duty to protect its people. Our northern compatriots deserve urgent attention not the neglect and indifference that have characterized the state's response so far. Political witch hunts cannot be used as smokescreen to deflect attention from this humanitarian disaster. We also draw attention to an alarming escalation of threats against political leaders, including the minority leader, Honorable Osahene Alexander Afenyo Markin, our Chief Whip, Honorable Frank Anodompre, and our National Organizer, Mr. Henry Nanabuache Nanabi. Reports of assassination plots issued openly by NDC executives and their associates while authorities look away signal a dangerous deterioration of democratic tolerance. This climate of intimidation is not a partisan issue. It is an assault on democracy itself. Such threats violate international democratic norms and cannot be dismissed as mere local politics. They demand immediate, serious investigation. The Ghana Police Service must rise above partisanship, abandon its current posture as a tool of the ruling party, and guarantee protection for all political actors regardless of affiliation. The Minority Caucus reiterates that this government has abandoned its constitutional obligation, choosing instead the path of authoritarian consolidation, judicial persecution, executive overreach, economic manipulation, and security failures have converged into a perfect storm that endangers both democracy and development in Ghana. We remain resolute in our commitment to uphold the rule of law, protect human rights, and restore public trust in our democratic institutions. Ghana's democracy is too precious to be surrendered to fear, intimidation, and authoritarian excesses. It's signed by Jerry Shaibu Ahmed. He's the second deputy minority whip. He's also the MP for Weja Bawe constituency. Now, this is the video that they refer to, where a young man who obviously belongs to the NDC, I believe it was during the Akwitia by-election, goes out there and threatens names of people, boldly speaking to media. He's not worried that if you carry out such threats publicly, you may be apprehended by the police and you may be asked not to go within a certain distance of the people that you are threatening, etc., etc. All of those laws which are alive in other democracies are not here, or he believes that nothing will happen to him based on the color of his party. I'm not sure why. I'm not so sure why. But here he is.
I'm not on prayer. Nanabi, wallahi, umbewu. Me don't yakupon. Me kabe proposal form. After marking, I'm not on prayer. Nanabi, umuni show mobile issue. I'm not on prayer. Nanabi, wallahi, umbewu. Me don't yakupon. Me kabe proposal form. After marking, I'm not on prayer. Nanabi, umuni show mobile issue.
So could the government take credit for the appreciation? Yes, they should be up to.
It may be empty threats, but what kind of environment in a democracy allows an individual speaking to journalists in the open, in the plain, to say that these persons, if they joke, they will die, and it's okay? Nobody asking me any question. A certain environment should be created in the future, in the near future, where when we go out for political events, people are not able to threaten people that way. I don't even remember that happening recently. We had a brutal feisty election in 2024. We had a brutal election in 2016. We had a brutal election in 2020 during COVID. I don't remember these things happening. I don't remember them happening. That people can go onto the mic, say, Lord Comey, go onto the mic and say that Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa, Sam George, they will die. If they do, there will be by-election in Pram. They will see. I don't remember that. What are we doing? This is not NDC or MPP. This is about the democracy that has been bequeathed to us. Bequeathed to us because a lot of us were born recently, so we didn't have even voting rights at the time the people who fought for the 1992 constitution were fighting for it. So if we started having voting rights from 2000 election or 2004, that democracy has been bequeathed to us. But the actors are still around and books have been written. We have read it. And we know what has happened in Parliament. And we were to assume that criminal libel is gone. You can say what you want to say, especially in the circumstance where nobody wants to say it. Because we have been in this country and people who have said worse things have come into the country and have obtained national security protection. As a result of the things they themselves knew that they have said, they have organized national security protection for people who have said worse things. But Abronye DC, because of his political color, because he touched on somebody who is in power's nerve or something, the Inspector General of Police is very concerned that Abronye DC says that, alleges that he's corrupt. Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Now I hear there's a demonstration coming up and they call it this one. It's coming up. I understand that tomorrow they are holding a press conference and they are going to pour themselves out onto the street. Because you see, if you look at election results, the candidates of the both parties, they both got more than 1 million votes. Both candidates can throw up 200,000 people on the street, and that would be chaotic in Accra. They can throw 200,000 people on the street. Because when people are frustrated in this manner, they have nothing to do but to go on the street. So they say, Chiyem Preku, catch, arrest all of us once and for all. They say it's coming soon. Apparently they are writing to the police for permission to demonstrate because they are tired. Fancy comedy. Then he says he's arrested. Then somebody is arrested. Abronye is arrested. Why? Is that the democracy? When power changes hands, we should go deeper into some of these ugly things so that we don't push our democracy forward. Every epoch should see an advancement of the democracy. 1992 to 1996 saw an advancement of it. 96 to 2000 saw a further advancement in it. 2000, 2004, we moved further. Up to 2008, we moved further. We are now beginning to take our elections for granted. Those days, Kwesi Pratt used to be concerned about the peace industry. In 2012, he was worried that anytime you're having elections, you have people say peace, oh, peace, oh. We are now getting, except some of the ugly events of the post-2024 voting, we are really getting to the point where we can take the election for granted. We'll vote and sleep and wake up and somebody will win and we move on. That's where we are getting to. And now these things, oh, I don't think it's great. Permit me now to introduce the program. Later tonight, we have 10 questions for President John Dramani Mahama's press conference that I'm expecting Abronye's lawyers, if they come, then I'll put them on and then they tell us a few things. 10 questions for President John Mahama is coming. Fifi Kwete is upset. At the NDC Lawyers Forum, he raised an issue about the threat of oral Operation Recover All Loot, which is oral. There's a threat that Fifi Kwete is announcing that some NDC lawyers are cutting deals with some of these former quote-unquote corrupt MPP officials. He spoke about it and we have the video, and now we're going to deal with it in some particular detail so that we can all understand. As part of our editorial on that one, we will be suggesting which lawyers Fifi Kwete may be referring to. So we're going to put all the very well-known NDC lawyers here, and we ask ourselves, which one is Fifi Kwete referring to? On the president's 10 questions, we have 10 questions that we think President Mahama should be asked by the media tomorrow. When we have done that, we'll also open the phone lines for you. America says that they're not giving Ghana money anymore. NDC says it's MPP's fault. MPP says that it's NDC's fault. Whose fault truly is it? We're going to find out on the touch screen what it is as we talk about Sami Okujeto Ablakwa. The Asante Achim issue is also coming up. Meanwhile, let me bring up Kwesi Kwarteng again. Just before I take the break. This is Kwesi Kwarteng. And the other day I came here and said that he speaks very well and he measures, you know. The MPP seem to have some good speakers. The next election is going to be interesting because you have Miracles Abuaje, who is a celebrated, very well-spoken communicator for the party. Now Kwesi Kwarteng is emerging that he's doing very well. Something happened that some of you may not have seen. So he said something. He had a Twitter spat with the lady, the Dr. Equia. Dr. Equia is also she's very respectful. That's what I see about her when I watch Good Morning Ghana. Very, very, very respectful lady. And as a medical doctor, she speaks well. But of course, she belongs to the Baumia camp. We know that. And Kwesi Kwarteng belongs to the Kennedy Japan camp. They had a spat on social media in which Kwesi Kwarteng had said something about the northern crisis ahead of the election, the Baako issue. I think it offended the Mampugu youth. And so they issued a statement. Let's see what statement they issued. So So, okay, you don't have it put out. The statement they issued is, Kwesi Kwarteng and Kennedy Japan must retract their lies and apologize to the people of Mampurugu.